to another episode of Math Snacks with Miss Lovely and Miss Wonderful. Today's episode is on circumference of a circle. Tell us what you mean by that, Miss Lovely. What are we going to do?
Well, we're going to talk about circles today, a whole bunch of different circular objects.
Cool.
And we're going to be trying to figure out how we can measure around a circle.
I'm finding all the circular objects you've got here for me to play with.
Let's put the last one on there, the big old oatmeal container.
Goodness.
It's big. It takes up a lot of room.
Okay, well, I got to get some work room here. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted. Okay.
Circles. So, circumference of a circle. I want to be able to figure out how I can find well, I'm not going to say that. I almost told what circumference was, and I know that you already know what it is.
Well, I've got a good guess by the way you wrote it on here.
Circumference of a circle is actually the
distance around a circle.
Distance around the outside of a circle, exactly. So we are going to try to figure out how we can always determine the distance around the outside of a circle, because you know...
I don't have to have that as a spelling word. Sorry, Miss Lovely, but that's a long word.
It is. So, what do you think a reason we might have trouble measuring the distance around the outside of a circle?
Because with my ruler, I'm going to have a hard time measuring around this ruler, around the circle.
You are, and you know what? They have invented tools that will allow us to measure the distance around circles, and we actually happen to have one, which would be a tape measure because it's flexible. But it's still kind of hard because it's hard to hold it up next to the edge of the circle.
Yes, it is.
So, a long time ago, somebody figured out a formula that would always work on every circle regardless of the size. But you know how I feel about just telling kids what formulas are. I want kids to determine a formula on their own. So, I want you...
You always want us to think.
I want you to think first, without me just telling you something. So,
that means you're going to make me think today?
Doggone it. It's early in the morning, I know, but we're going to try.
Okay.
So, we are first going to have another vocabulary word, which we've talked about in the past, and I know you know, and that is diameter of the circle.
Diameter of the circle.
What is the diameter of a circle?
Well, that I can measure with the ruler.
Yes.
The diameter of the circle, if I were going to fold this circle and kind of find where's the halfway mark.
Yes.
The diameter of a circle is the distance across, and it's a straight line.
Right.
And it's about 11 centimeters.
And it goes through the center point of the circle. Exactly.
And it should be 11 centimeters if I'm on this, in the center everywhere.
Exactly. So we have to have the diameter for today's math snack of every circle. And we're going to kind of do this backwards. We are going to know the distance around because I want you to figure out what the ratio between the diameter and the circumference is.
Just a minute. You just threw another vocabulary word in there.
I did.
The ratio
between the diameter and the circumference. And you know what we have to do for ratios?
What's a fraction?
It is.
So you have to divide.
Exactly. So we're going to use those two vocabulary words in our math snack episode today, along with circumference, which we've already determined. Okay. So I know which one of those round circular objects is going to attract you the most because it is one we can throw.
Yes.
And I know how you are about throwing.
I want to see, where'd you get this little frisbee?
Isn't that a cute little frisbee?
Here's the spin. Work zone safety is in. Kind of catchy.
Pretty cute. It's probably one of those free things I picked up at the state fair.
Okay.
Okay, so we are going
We're kind of getting free advertising here.
They are. Okay, so we're going to first have you measure the diameter because you can measure that on your own with the ruler.
Okay.
Okay.
The diameter is... You want centimeters or inches?
I want you to do it in inches today, please.
Okay. I'm going to hold it up here a little bit so maybe you can see a little bit what I'm looking at.
Okay.
The diameter, and I'm guessing this is about the center.
That straight line might be close.
I'm thinking that's probably about right there. It's about 4 1/4.
Okay.
Of an inch.
Well, I have made a chart for you.
Okay.
And it's got... You're going to give me the name of the circular object.
Just a minute. I'm not sure what color I want to write with today.
Okay.
Frisbee.
And you told me that the diameter was 4 1/4, 4.25. Let's do it in decimals because that'll make it easier when we use the calculator.
Because 1 divided by 4 is 0.25.
Right. And you want to label that for me? That was inches.
Okay.
And then we're going to measure the circumference of this one, and I will help you use that.
I'm not sure how we're going to do this so other people can see what we're doing.
I don't think you're going to be able to very well. I think they're going to have to trust you this time.
Take my word for it?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll help you hold it so that it's fairly accurate. These are all approximations because we can't be completely accurate on a round object.
About 13 and a half. No, 13 and a quarter.
Okay, 13 and a quarter.
I'll show you here. This is where it came to, guys. It came to right here.
So 13 and 1/4 inch would be 13.25. If we divide the 1 by the 4, we'd get 0.25. Okay. And again, that's in inches.
Okay.
And now I want you to find the ratio. And you were absolutely accurate when you said a ratio was the same as a fraction. So we're going to find the ratio, or the number of times this diameter will go into this circumference.
Okay.
And
can I use a calculator?
You may use the calculator, and I hope it works so that people can see it. But if not, we will take your word for it again. So
I know that 4 times 3 is 12, so I bet it's
going to be
close to 3.
I bet you're right.
Okay.
Good estimation skills there.
0.25 divided by 4.25 equals 3.1. I'm going to round it because it's a long number. I'm going to round it to 3.12.
Okay, 3.12.
Okay.
Now,
3.12.
Typically, if I were in a classroom of students, I would give one group the spool of yarn, and one group a quarter, and one group the oatmeal tub, and maybe some lids. And I've even taken my students down to the gym, and that huge circle in the middle of the gym floor.
Oh, that'd be fun to measure.
We've actually done it with those as well. So, so I've actually pre-measured for you so that we could save time today.
I like money. Can we start with the quarter?
You can start with the quarter. Okay. So write the quarter down, and I'll tell you what the measurements were when I did them.
I like it when you do the work for me.
Well, I knew it would speed things up a little bit.
Okay.
So the circumference was 3 inches, and the diameter wasn't quite an inch. It was actually 15/16 of an inch. It was close, but not quite to the inch. So now you're going to have to...
I can't divide that.
Oh, yes, you can. You can use your calculator and find what the decimal is.
Okay.
It's going to be close to 1, but it's not quite 1.
So 15
divided by
16
equals 0.9375.
Do I have to use the whole thing, or
yes,
can I do
please.
0.9?
Please do.
It's going to make it more accurate.
It'll be more accurate if you do.
0.9375. 0.9375 inches.
And since that one actually does terminate or end, we do want to use it because it'll be fairly accurate.
Okay. So you want me to find the ratio? Same thing?
Exactly. I want you to find out how many of the diameter goes into the circumference.
Well, I know this is really close to 1, so
it's going to be really close to 3.
It is. 3 divided by 0.9375 equals 3.2.
3.2.
Cool.
Yay.
Okay.
Spool of ribbon.
Spool.
And this time the spool of ribbon was 10.375, which is actually, when I measured it, it was 10 3/8. So I've already done the division for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that was in inches as well. And the diameter was 3 1/4, so it's 3.25. And you're going to find the ratio for us again. Okay. For the spool of ribbon, pink ribbon, for your granddaughter.
Hey, I get to go see my grandbaby today.
Cool.
I can't wait for her to see Grandma. I can't wait for me to see her. Okay. 3.19.
Yay, 3.19.
All of these are right close. This pen's kind of wussing out on me. Okay.
Okay, one more. The oatmeal container. Does anybody eat oatmeal? I do. Oh, I like oatmeal.
Yuck, yuck, yuck.
Okay.
Okay.
This time the circumference was just about 16 inches. Close enough that we'll call it 16 even.
Okay.
And the diameter was very close to 5 inches.
This pen works so much better than that blue one did. Okay.
What do you notice there?
I notice that I'm going to find out how many inches, how many times 5 goes into 16, and I know it's going to go in at least 3 times because that would be 15, so it's going to be a little bit over 3 again.
Yes, it is.
16 divided by 5 gives me 3.2.
You seeing a pattern here?
I am. They're all a little bit over 3.
And they always fall between 3.1 and 3.2. You know what? You know what? We're not the first ones to notice this pattern. People that lived clear back in ancient Babylon
Where's Babylon at?
Don't ask me. I don't do geography.
Oh, that's a history lesson.
That's a history
That's
snack.
a big question. If you guys know where Babylon's at, please let us know.
But also the ancient Egyptians noticed this pattern as well. And somewhere in history, again, another history lesson, the Greeks decided to represent this ratio with the symbol pi. It's a Greek letter of the alphabet.
Okay, first of all,
it's not that kind of pie.
I like pie.
It's not that kind of pie.
Pie.
It's no. You're getting off.
Oh.
P-I. P-I. Greek letter of the alphabet.
P-I.
And it has a symbol.
Oh, I know this symbol.
Okay.
I've seen it before.
Okay. She's changing color pens because she's happy. Well, that's close.
C pi?
Well, not exactly. That's close. I think that's the paragraph symbol.
Oh, you're right. I wasn't thinking very good. I'm sorry.
How about this? But you were close. It's got two straight lines and then kind of a curvy over the top.
Okay, I gotta hold it up there so that we can see the correct way of pi. Pi, and it's somewhere between 3.1 and 3.2.
Exactly. And the customary thing that we usually use when we're working, especially with this at the first, is 3.14. That's the accepted, because that's the next digit when it's accurate for pi. It actually goes on and on. Don't you throw that Frisbee. It goes on and on and on and on forever. Do you know that pi is an irrational number?
You're throwing more vocabulary words at me again.
It's irrational. And it's irrational because it goes on and on and on. It never ends. And there is no pattern to the numbers after the decimal point. They don't ever repeat. Never ends and never...
Never, like if infinity?
Never. At least they haven't figured out, even with supercomputers, that it will end or repeat.
Wow. So we can't put all those numbers in. So we're going to just use this number?
We can use 3.14, or if we have a scientific or graphing calculator, they actually have a pi key.
And it goes on and on and on?
Well, it doesn't go on and on, but it'll go usually 10 places past the decimal point. So it goes about 8 more places.
Okay.
So it's even more accurate if you can use the pi key on a calculator. But your calculator was just a standard calculator, so you could use 3.14.
Okay. I want to make sure I understand exactly what you're teaching me today.
Okay.
You are saying anytime I measure the circumference of a circular object, which is the distance around an object.
Yes.
We did it in inches, but it could be in centimeters, millimeters, whatever.
Exactly.
If we measure the distance around, is the circumference.
Yes.
And if we measure the diameter, half the circle, and put that down, that the number of times the diameter would actually wrap around the circle always comes to 3.14, whatever those other digits are.
That's correct.
And that is...
So do you think...
That is pi.
Right.
Or this pi.
Uh-huh. So do you know how we could, without measuring the distance around, like if we were going down to the gym floor, how we could figure out the distance around that big circle?
Because that's hard to do.
It would be hard.
If we know the we can work backwards.
Uh-huh.
If we know the diameter,
right,
we can take it times 3.14 and we'll know the circumference.
Woo! You are so right. And that's how we help children learn the formula for circumference of a circle.
They need to first realize it's going to be always take the diameter times 3.14.
Yeah, and they can always measure the diameter because it's straight.
Cool.
Very cool.
Okay. Well, thank you for helping me on this lesson on circumference of a circle.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us in another episode of Math Snacks. If you're interested in more information about Math Snacks, or you'd like to bring Miss Glovely or Miss Wonderful to your classroom, call Miss Glovely, Renee Smith, at 620-663-9566.